Morning, folks. Me again, Shannon Fox here on the DIY Junkin channel. Third video today. Got me a load of ACs in. I figured I'd show some people how to break down a couple. Now, this particular one right here is what you call a big window unit. They come in all shapes and sizes, but these actually take longer to break down than the condenser units. And I'll show you how to break this one down on another video or another one like it. I get those window units pretty much every week. Now these here I try to buy when I get a chance as well, and I come across about 10 of these condenser units last night. Win for me. I had to pay for them as usual. Don't mind a bit. But in the end, time and effort involved, it's usually worth it. Till the metal drops so low it ain't worth it, but that's always a flexible market. Now let me just show you real quick. This here is just a regular condenser unit, outdoor unit. This here is half of a closet unit. Here's the other half, which is basically the furnace part. Only thing it's got in it is a little bit of wire. But this here, in the top of that furnace, is an A-coil. Now I'll show you how to break this A-coil out. Yank all that copper out of there. Pull that little bit of brass and copper loose from there. Get this trash out of the way. Trash can. I want to see how many minutes it takes me to break down each one of these units. I believe I got all the tools I need here. Got my channel lock, snips, 5/16 on the nut driver. I got the 1/4 inch and the Phillips if I need it as well. Got my big bolt cutters here. They work great for cutting copper tubing. A hammer and a small pair of bolt cutters, and a magnetic bowl to hold all the screws, because there's about 50 screws in these things. But I'm just going to set this camera down over here, and maybe I can teach somebody something today. Maybe some of y'all have never done this before. Now, not every state you can sell these things without AC license, because of the fact that a lot of people steal these things. Me personally, I buy them from AC guys. They don't have the time to break them down, and they ain't throwing them away because they know that there's a little value in them. So that's what I do, is I try to find AC guys to do just that, sell me these things. But let me go ahead and show you what I got yesterday. This is a winter chicken dinner. This fan, trash to treasure right there. This is making it cooler out here already. We're still in the shade since it's only about 8:30 in the morning. And having that fan for a little bit extra breeze is nice. I will keep that forever. It's a new member of the family. Well, let me go ahead and see if I can position this camera where I'm not in the way. But I prefer not to drop these on the ground for one main reason, and it's because you end up doing a lot more bending over. So I leave them on the tailgate, try to zip them apart. And I've got 2 or 3 drills out, that way I'm not swapping out bits all the time. But grab my tea real quick. Let's see how long it takes me to just break down this one unit here. It is 3 minutes in on the video. Get the tools out of the way. Let's time and see how long it takes. I'm probably quicker than some with this. I've only done it about 1,000 times. I used to work for a guy at a ranch. This is all I did all day, was cut apart ACs. Now this is the 5/16 nut driver impact ring, and I'm just zipping out all the screws. See how long it takes me. 3 minutes, remember, folks. And there's equal amount of screws around the bottom and the top. These are just your frames. And like my bit's getting stripped. Magnetic bowl in use already. Now you zip all you can loose as you can reach. And you can rotate this thing without knocking it off on your feet. Just run around and get the rest of these 5/16 screws down here. See how long it takes to get this apart. Every screw you see, you just zip this thing apart. Oh, these are going to be rough. They're strapped. It's not good. May have to get a different bit to get those out. We will see. That's what I call a snag. Hopefully it'll go right. Now this thing is almost completely loose now, just with me zipping out around it. So now I'll go ahead and drop it on the ground. And readjust my camera. save me a little bit of bending over. If I throw the thing on the ground straight off the bat, I'm bending over the whole time, zipping screws. Grab my drill, get right back on this thing. About ready for a new bit in this drill, I can tell. Now these things have been drained by the previous AC guy. I asked him to make sure they're drained. I don't need no Freon leaking out on my property. This stuff doesn't taste too good anyway. Now about 15 screws, 20 screws already out. And in that time, I got the shell completely loose on this thing. Now, you got to have them wire snips handy because this wire is always holding you up. Show you here. Now, the trick is to cut it as close as you can, but because I drag these things around by the cord like a tail, I leave a little bit of wire on there until the last minute. Now, because this thing is heavy, you can't really yank these screws out right here that are in this fan until you get the weight of the motor off of the screws. And they zip out by hand, usually 3/8 or 5/16 nuts. And in my way, hold on. This is where I need my channel lock, folks. It just bees that way sometimes. Sometimes these things go quick and smooth, and then sometimes you end up with a rusted nut or stripped screw, and then it's delayed game at that point. The right answer would be for me to have the right D12 nut driver out here to zip this off. Of course, I don't have it within reach, so I'll just go ahead and do it with my hands in the channel locks. And it's because it's hot and it's early. It's only about 85 degrees at 8 o'clock here this morning, which ain't terrible, but this fan towards me a little bit. Yeah, that's nice. Having a little breeze on you. Snip ties are a problem too. That's why you gotta have them snips. Now this here is totally clean. It's just metal now. It was the top. Throw it over in the tin pile. Once you get done with a piece that ain't nothing but tin, throw it in its own pile eventually. That's the stuff you don't ever have to touch until time to load on the truck, in theory. Now this here will come off through the tin. Stuff like this I step on. Make more room in the truck. You always got to think about how you're going to stack this stuff. You're always trying to consolidate it to be smaller. And now I'm at the point the coil is almost loose, with the exception of cutting the copper off of the compressor. As you see, this is a big compressor, folks. I'll go see it. Let me move the camera a little bit. See how quick it is just to get to the guts of that thing already. Just taking the shell off, taking all that loose. Grab my snips. Cut this wire loose as tight as I can get it. Get every drop I can. This will go in the wire bucket. Doesn't look like much, but here's a little more wire. It's got to be stripped off. When you're having a good pair of wire strippers, good when they're spring loaded. It just makes everything so much quicker. Like these whisk snips that I'm using, just that quick. Done. Goes in the tin pile. Now this is where I use my other bolt cutters. My little one first. Cut off all this small stuff. I don't know if y'all see that. About 6 loops right here. Basically attach the compressor to the coil. It's what you call a condenser coil. What you see outside of people's house. First piece of copper off. throw it in the bucket. What I'm doing is basically detaching this AC. Another 50 weight. Now at this point, this thing here is completely loose. And this is the money. This thing's gonna weigh about 20 something pounds, $1 something a pound. This should be $30 plus. But what I'll do is I'll take and I'll cut these copper loops off later when I get them all out, and I'll do them all at one time, assembly line them. I'll throw this out of the way. Now, sometimes you can take the stuff here and just bend it and get it loose. But me, I like my big tool. This bad boy right here. Because I can take big copper, just that quick, like butter. Well, lay it on the ground one-handed. That big tool was worth the money. I paid $5 for that at a garage sale, and I use it every time I junk. Sometimes it's copper, you can just bend it with your hand, start folding it. A little bit of Freon juice, a little junking juice. Get that stuff ripped out of there. But at any rate, now the compressor is ready to be impacted out. Now, I in the past took a sledgehammer and laid that thing upside down, punch these bolts out from the bottom. You can hit them with my 14-pound sledge and knock them out pretty fast. But I figured out this is easier on my back. Impact, nut driver on a socket. Just that quick and easy. Now these things are full of copper, and today I won't be cleaning them, but I'm going to do a video where I clean all three sizes of these, small, medium, and large, to show exactly how much copper and stuff is in these things. I'll sell this for about 2.5 times 10 weight, which is about 13 or 14 cents right now for these things. So, thing weighs about 65, 70 pounds, 13 cents a pound. That's about $8 as is. Now if I was to break it down, it'd probably be about $15 or $20 after copper. Big cutters, small cutters. 2 different size tubing. Makes a difference. Makes it quicker. But you don't miss no copper. You don't pass up nothing. No money. Sometimes things like this is a piece of tin on the copper. And you gotta separate. Throw this in the tin pile. Then you're gonna get dirty, may get a little bloody. And you better not wear your best clothes doing this stuff, because you just be making a mistake. You think you're gonna have something nice to wear outside junking. First thing that happens, you tear a hole in the pants leg right off the bat, beginning of the day. And that's what happened. But at any rate, this AC is completely shucked with the exception of 2 little things. Let's see here, get these out. Now these little blocks here that are still attached, I don't know if you can see them or not, they're brass with a little bit of copper on them. Because they're such heavy brass, stripped out, or I need a better 5/16 bit. I do not know which. But at any rate, folks, this is what you got to get off of here. This little piece right here, this is actually quite valuable. It's worth about $1.50 just by itself, just this one piece and this one piece here. I'll get on these with a flat head because my 5/16 nut driver is not doing it. They're rusted out. It happens, but I'll set it aside. We're going to call this one about 95% clean. Now these electric motors, one good thing about them, they pay good. They pay like 25 cents a pound for these things. But the trick is getting the blade off. They won't buy them with the fan blade on them. So they take the fan blade off. There's a little nut that holds that fan blade on, which sometimes they'll fly right off the shaft, and then sometimes they're rusted and they're not coming off no matter what you do. And I got lucky. Come right off. I love it, I love it. Now this is 10. You can cut around this with some 10 snips if you wanted to. It's not that much weight. Not worth the trouble to me. And if I had 50 on them, maybe, but as is known. Now this isn't a clean electric motor. Only thing left to do is cut off a little bit of wire here and a little bit of wire here, and this is ready to go in the 25 cents a pound electric motor bucket that I got right down here. How long did that take, folks? Clean that unit. Let's see. 15 minutes, so it took me 12 minutes to do that unit. That was a little slow. Had a little problem. Usually it takes me about 10 minutes a piece. But at any rate, before this video cuts off, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know I've only got about 18 or 20 minutes on my video camera footage time available on this phone, I guess, because I got so many pictures on there. But at any rate, I'm going to continue to zip this one apart, try to see if I can show y'all the inside of an A coil. We're taking out about 20 screws real quick, this other type condenser, before my time runs out. If it cuts off, you know my storage is full, and it's an over and out. Let me get these real quick. Hopefully this one goes a little faster for you folks. I already see I'm going to have to get me a new 5/16 bit. This thing ain't grabbing right. The screws in the bucket or the wife will yell at you. No screws in the drive. Even though we got a magnet, it's still not a good idea. There's actually quite a bit of copper and brass in these things, and you have to separate the two completely to get the right money. Copper's $2 something a pound. Brass is about $2 a pound. It's worth the difference. Otherwise, they'll give you a dirty copper. You have brass and copper mixed together, and then you just lose like that. They beat you up, basically. That's what they tell. If you don't know what you're doing scrapping, you're wasting your time. The fact of the matter is, they're not going to tell you a lot of things at the scale, which normally would benefit you if you knew. Like about separating this stuff. Oh, I heard a screw hit the ground. Don't tell my wife, please, please. Taking out all these 5/16 screws. They're holding this copper and this brass together. You know, if I can see that or not. A little bit of trash. Oh, we gotta have a trash bucket local. And this stuff, I'll just see if I got any more screws here. I don't think I do. I think I can pull this out right from the front now. We'll see. Need my bolt cutters, of course. There's one, two. Put this one about right here. Oh, and that's brass. I don't know so easy. Let's do it like this. Let's get the big dogs out sometimes. On it. Heavy brass, folks. Pays good. Cut this little bit of copper off here, and it'll be ready to sell. Right here's where I need my drill again. A couple of straggling screws. This thing you're looking at called an A coil. You've got an outdoor condenser unit on